Listen, all I'm saying is the thing with Dulsmic was a complete accident. There was a bug, and also Russians.
Uh-huh. Why am I having a hard time believing that?
Hey, you can check the footage. I literally have that ability.
Of course, what is the matter?
Is my body needed for some kind of ramming again, or what?
No, it's even better!
That's impossible. I haven't been patched yet. Get it? 'Cause RAM?
That's not the reason, and you know it, Homewrecker. Anyway, I got this. Do we need it?
Let me take a look. It seems like an arrow and... Why is this wet?
Hey Avi, a time wizard just gave me this fancy golden arrow. You want to see how far I can shove it down my throat?
What are you, stupid? Of course I do.
Okay!
Please and thank you.
Whoa, that's the arrow! I can't believe you got it!
So you knew about this.
What? No! What? No. What? No!
And when was I going to be notified?
When it's done, obviously.
Okay, follow-up question. When will it be done?
Actually, could we wait a sec? Because I kind of want to apply some kind of anesthetic to soothe the crippling pain of... Ow. Well, wasn't that bad, actually.
Okay, what is going on here?
Man, I don't know. I'm just as lost as you are.
Wait, all of this is just to download a patch?
To be fair, there was that giant first patch for Fallout 76.
So are you just going to use text boxes now, or... Really? That's not how I remember Valatora getting her text box.
You know what, Aeron? I just wanted to have some fun with your format and be all cool and dramatic, but you couldn't even let me have my bit. Still, though, I'm really just glad that this Chekhov's gun went smoothly.
Hi. Sorry to cut in, but do you mind filling me in on all of this?
Yeah, an explanation would sound pretty nice about now.
How about we just skip the explanation? I haven't exactly fired this gun after all, and I still need to get used to this whole body, and what better target than a commentary? Listen, I've wanted to scratch this itch for longer than you can all comprehend. I've existed, and I keep existing.
What does that even mean?
Well, let's just say that after we're done here, horses won't be called horses anymore.
What?
It's something about omelets. Anyway, you see this comment?
Yeah, I can read.
Just a second, how did you get that?
Watch this trick. Paradise Star!
Hold on, that video. I don't think it exists.
Well, not in this current timeline, but from a different one at a different time, using the comment as a link of sorts.
Alright. Now can you do me a solid and seal that rift, please? I'd rather not break space-time today.
Listen, I'm not gonna go crazy with it. I just need to find something and it'll be out of your hair. And as a bonus, I'll even give you the video to cover with me.
Yeah, for the record, I didn't sign up for destroying time and space today. Maybe next week.
Don't encourage this.
Yeah, we have a commentary to do, right, admin?
Yeah, you guys do that. I'll be over here. Reading.
I'm Gallade, and if you can be fair man up and fight by using attack moves, then it will be a good sign, and a good game for other players.
I'm unbeatable, Pokémon. I'm undefeatable, from the stars and the ancient past. They come to play, but they'll never last. I'm undefeatable. This battle, I'm unbeatable, Pokémon.
Greetings, online travelers. I'm Aeron Tempest.
And I'm Avibot Requiem, resident breaker of space-time, and yes, that is a JoJo's reference.
Our specimen today is Gallade, a countdown maker from what little I could gather because, well...
His channel and all of his videos are pretty much lost to the void of space-time, with a few exceptions, namely this video, Top 10 Worst Troll Techniques in Pokémon Battles, which released somewhere in early 2017.
Since this video was deleted, we are assuming that it's disowned. As such, this video is primarily here to demonstrate how not to do a countdown and argue Pokemon mechanics.
With all that said and done, let's charge ahead.
Still over here. Still reading.
I had no idea you had such an analytical mind.
How'd you think of that? I just made it up as I went along.
Oh!
Alright, let's start. Number 10.
Wait, what is this? What is all of this? Is this a PowerPoint presentation?
Actually, it's a Google Slides presentation, though that's really a distinction without a difference. Oh, great. Now we need to get another body. For the record, this is going to cost him extra.
Goodness breadsticks alive, this looks so lazy. Why not actually make it so that everything isn't on the screen at the same time? In fact, throughout the rest of this, we don't even need to play his points, as they're literally right in front of us the whole time.
Unless he says something noteworthy that's not on screen, of course.
Whoop-de-doo.
Protecting multiple times. So if you're in a battle facility, you run into a trainer packing Protect. If you keep using protection moves, then you're going to make it impossible for you to attack. But it'll most likely fail. If you want to fight Protect, then you're going to have Feint. If you have a 2-turn move, then it's more likely that your opponent is going to use Protect. If you use Protect multiple times, then it'll get bad. People will start calling you a coward if you keep using Protect multiple times. If you man up and start battling, then you're a fair player.
Alright, let's knock these out one by one.
Firstly, and this is just a nitpick, but why is that only an issue in the battle facility? Protect is a move that almost any Pokemon can learn, and main story trainers sometimes use or spam it. Also, yes, Protect makes it nigh impossible to attack, but with each successive use, the failure chance doubles, meaning you technically can use it a bunch of times in a row and have them all work, but the chances of that are slim to none, and while you do say that it will most likely fail, you never elaborate on what that means.
Adding on to that, the only Pokemon that you can actually spam Protect against are Pokemon with the ability Truant, since Pokemon with that ability can only attack every other turn.
That gives us a grand total of 3 Mons. 2 from the same evolutionary line and Durant's hidden ability.
Secondly, while yes, you can use Feint to bypass Protect, you can also use moves like Shadow Force, Phantom Force, Hyperspace Fury, and Hyperspace Hold to do the same. Now I understand that 3 of those moves can only be used by legendaries.
And Smeargle.
However, there's a good chunk of Ghost-type Pokemon that have access to Phantom Force, which has a base power of 90, and Ghost Stab on top of that.
Don't forget that C moves also go through Protect at 25% of the original damage.
Well, there's that, but I find it a little bit humorous that you followed up this statement by saying that protecting against 2-turn moves is so common, while Shadow Force and Phantom Force are moves that bypass Protect as well.
Thirdly, not all protecting moves are created equal. Wide Guard only protects against multi-target attacks, Quick Guard does the same but only for priority moves, and Crafty Shield does the same for status moves. Mat Block doesn't protect against status moves, can only be used on the first turn of the Mon being out, and doesn't even have priority. And for heck's sake, why does everyone treat King Shield like a god tier move when it doesn't protect against status moves and leaves it susceptible to taunt? Its hardest counter. At least Baneful Bunker and Spiky Shield actually protect against those with their additional effects. Sorry, it's just Christ.
Tangents aside, repeatedly using Protect can also backfire by giving an opponent an opportunity to raise their stats, or attack you if Protect fails.
Speaking of nothing, we're skipping the rest of this segment as we have nothing else to say about it.
You're the ones who tricked us!
You were the twerps who let yourselves get tricked!
Well, maybe you've got a point.
Don't agree with the enemy?
Number 9. Using Encore multiple times. Your opponent uses the status moves, right? Well, if you use Encore, then the status move will continue. Ew. If you use it multiple times, it will make it impossible for your opponent to be your Pokemon to be attacked. But if your opponent uses a strong attack move, it will be a huge mistake because all your Pokemon will go down in a flash.
Wait, if this technique has a chance to backfire so hard that it could cause all your Pokemon to go down in a flash, then why is it on this list?
Because it's easy to complain about when you're the one getting hit by it and using it poorly.
This is definitely not cool for this kind of move using multiple times. If you use it multiple times, you'll piss a lot of people off that way. So if you run out of power points, you're left with nothing, unless you make a comeback and your opponent will have their Pokemon. Go for your Pokemon's blood. A Pokemon that has the move Encore will be targeted. I experienced that once. And I didn't like it.
Okay, to those out of the loop, because this man was so amazing at explaining what Encore does, it locks the target into using its last used move for 3 turns. Just wanted to make sure we're all in the know here. So, while spamming Encore could be considered a trollish thing to do in a Pokemon battle, you bring up more points that go against it rather than why it's trollish. And even how it can backfire on the user, that being locking your opponent into a strong or spammy move like Fire Blast and Rollout respectively. So, yeah, congratulations, you played yourself. And while you could say, oh, but it's only number 9, I say that I can see things farther than you can comprehend, and this is one of 2 actual trollish things that he brings up on the entire list. So if it fits his non-existent criteria more than the other segments, then why isn't it higher?
Not only that, but you also don't mention that Encore's effect can be countered by switching out. And while that does give your opponent a slight advantage, if they're still using Encore, then it won't really accomplish much because the opponent's Pokemon can't be locked into a move if it hasn't used a move yet. Also, if they try using Encore the turn after a Pokemon switched in, it can go one of 2 ways. If the opponent is slower than the Encore spammer, then it will fail because the opponent hasn't used a move yet. And if the user is faster than the spammer, most likely they'll take advantage of that situation and either make the opponent unable to use Encore, inflict them with a status condition, or knock them out on the spot.
Hi, so this is AR coming to you live from your future station, AO 121.5, the Speedwagon, to say that before anyone brings up how the spammer gets a free hit, you can always just switch into something that resists or is immune to what the user is packing, and even then, you can just taunt them after switching so that they can't even use the move to begin with. Oh, also, I love how you say, this is definitely not cool for this kind of move, and if you do this, then people will get mad. Oh, thank God you were there, Sherlock. I never would have guessed that spamming a stupid move would make people angry. What would I do without you? And don't even get me started on how you don't even bring up a good strategy to combo with Encore, like using Torment alongside Encore to, albeit clumsily, lock your opponent out of their moveset. Also, for some reason, it just doesn't work with Magic Bounce! Oh hey, it's the Purple Time Lady. And you title drop it beautifully, but please tell me why you're intruding on this ever so important tear through the fabric of space and time. Okay, to be honest, I was going to, but then you said by force, and now I'm intrigued. Or I could just open another one.
Not anymore. Not anymore. Time's up. Over. Snap back to reality. Open the ghost gravity.
Or knock them out on the spot.
Time's up. Over.
Ow.
I take it that you learned your lesson.
Well, I definitely learned some lore.
Of course, that's what you would focus on.
Number 8. Maxing out defenses and weakening offenses.
I beg your pardon?
Hey, Edmund, I'll be right back.
Hold up, where are you going?
Don't worry about it. I'll be back before the next interjection. Tops.
So, you aren't in trouble and you want to raise your stats. Well, guess what? You can do it. If you want to max out your defenses by using Iron Defense and Amnesia a lot, and reducing the attack of your opponent by using Charm or Feather Dance and Capture or Eerie Impulse multiple times, they won't like it. It'll make their strongest Pokemon weaker and make it look like it was just a scratch on your Pokemon. I had to deal with it in a battle. Oh, and people started using stockpile a lot. Believe me, the next entry will help and it'll irritate a lot of people.
Well, it's the next interjection and he's not back yet. Where could he have gone? That was rather quick. Where is he? Alright, I'll be right back.
Saradusk is a comedy genius.
Hey,
he
please
made
stop
this
saying
one
dumb
vine where
things.
he asked his
You're
friend
not
for
even
some
making
ice
sense.
cream, so his friend replies only a spoonful. This leads to Saradusk pulling out a comically large spoon. Do you not understand his comedic genius?
There you are. What are you doing here exactly?
I'm taking my union break.
I just wanted to read!
Avi, it hasn't even been 15 minutes since we started covering this video.
You don't know that. Besides, there's only so much stupid I could handle in one work session.
Hold up, this entire thing was your idea.
I failed to see your point.
Point is, break time is over. Now then, back to business. I believe we have a countdown section to dismantle.
Alright, I'll dismantle it. Listen, I've seen some poorly justified entries for countdowns, but I'm pretty sure this one takes the cake and eats it too. Because you can, and I know this is an absurd notion, but hear me out, boost or lower your stats too. If someone lowers your offense, you have a way to get it back, such as a move like Swords Dance or Dragon Dance. If they increase their defense, then up your attack to compensate, or just use a different offensive method like using special attacks if they up their physical defense, or using physical attacks if they have special defense, or if they use something like Cosmic Power, which increases both defensive stats, just poison them, as it makes them take damage over time. And don't give me the, oh, but what if I can't poison them? Every Pokemon, barring a few gimmick mons, can learn Toxic or Will-O-Wisp.
That's also ignoring the fact that switching out is always a viable option in situations like this. All stat changes are neutralized when a Pokemon switches out, unless they use Baton Pass.
Hey admin, why is Baton Pass on the list?
Good question, Avi. Now then, if they lower all your stats, you can switch out to negate them. If they have maximized their own stats, then you can use Roar, Whirlwind, Circle Throw, Dragon Tail, or hold the red card item to force your opponent to switch out. If you can't switch out, there are other options too. Haze comes to mind, as it completely eliminates stat changes on the field. For non-steel type Pokemon, there's also Clear Smog, which deals damage and removes all stat changes to the target. Topsy-Turvy reverses all stat changes, so your maxed out stats are now your most minimized stats. And finally, Mist prevents all Pokemon from having their stats lowered for 5 turns.
Unless someone uses Defog, but it's not like everyone knows that or anything.
Can't forget about Taunt. Since Taunt prevents Pokemon from using non-offensive moves, it completely prevents stat-changing moves to be used in the first place. Furthermore, the abilities Clear Body and Full Metal Body prevent your stats from being lowered. The ability Unaware makes your attacks completely ignore stat changes made by the enemy. Darkest Lariat and Chip Away are moves that ignore stat changes. And yes, for those of you in the back asking, critical hits do in fact ignore stat changes. Oh look, there's Storm Throw and Frost Breath, moves that always deal critical hits.
Still, the argument can be made that, oh, what if you don't have any methods of stat boosting or lowering on your team? Well then, let me ask you, what's the point of Pokemon? To be the best like no one ever was. And to do that, you don't just have to beat the Elite Four and become champion, you have to be the best you can be. Or at least try to be. So, you might just need to have a few things on your team that may not do damage, but will win you the game.
All of this ignores that influencing the stats of both yourself and your opponent is one of the most basic strategies in the game. I mean, there's a reason why every starter gives you at least a stat-changing move alongside a damage-dealing one.
I swear to God, he's gonna put something stupid like hitting people really hard on the list, isn't he?
Don't you already know where this list is going?
Just let me be sad.
Hey guys, how's the commentary going?
I'm sad.
Aeron, what did you do?
Me? I didn't do anything.
You ruined my union break.
Are you still on that? Very well. You can take your full union break after this commentary. In fact, Hiten, can you do me a solid and read the rest of these entries so we can save a bit of time? All of the points are basically on the slides anyway.
Can confirm.
Can I get a union break afterwards?
You know what? Sure. It's only fair.
Great!
Number 7.
Alright. One-hit KO moves. These moves help when your opponent maxes out their defenses. However, they can... Wait. These moves help when your opponent maxes out their defenses. However, that can irritate them as well. Yeah, using Guillotine, Sheer Cold, or Fissure can be irritating as well, while they use target moves like Lock On, Foresight, or Odor Sleuth, and using one-hit KO moves is dickish. If your opponent has a Pokemon with Sturdy, it'll have no effect. Believe me, if you keep using a target move and a one-hit KO move, it'll make that friend scream and yell in the chat box so hard, or piss a stranger off so hard. Why is there a fucking image overlapping the end of this goddamn sentence?
You would have a point there if it wasn't for one tiny issue. While yes, using one-hit KO moves in tandem with moves that grant perfect accuracy may be a trollish thing to do, but do you know how many Pokemon could pull off such a tactic? A grand total of 2. 4 if you count Gen 1 Poliwrath with Fissure plus Mind Reader, and Machamp with Fissure and the ability No Guard. The other 2 being Articuno with Mind Reader and Sheer Cold,
and also Smeargle.
But given the fact that the former is somewhat slow and has 4 weaknesses, with one being a quadruple weakness, having that tactic work would be a miracle. As for the latter, its only decent stat is speed, and even then it's nothing to write home about, so don't expect that to work there either without proper setup. Actually, hang on just a moment. What's stopping the opponent from switching out the minute you use Mind Reader, which, by the way, negates the effect? So much for that technique.
Not only that, but using OHKO moves is incredibly risky on its own, given that all of them have base accuracies of 30. And unlike every other move that doesn't have guaranteed accuracy, you can't alter it with items or stat buffs, or if your opponent lowers their evasion or something. The higher your level is when compared to your opponent is what determines the accuracy. If your level is lower, it won't work at all, and if your level is higher, then the accuracy rises. And while this may seem like you can abuse it online, you can't. In online battles, all Pokemon with a level above 50 get their levels scaled down to 50, and Pokemon with lower levels get scaled up, so it's always even. Also, I love how you mentioned that Sturdy exists, because here's a funny meme for you. Pokemon with Sturdy are completely immune to OHKOs. Also, if a Mon has a Focus Sash, then the OHKO still leaves them with 1 HP if the target is at full health.
And that's not even mentioning that all of these moves have types that are immune to them. Guillotine and Horn Drill can't affect ghost types. Fissure can't hit flying type Pokemon or a Pokemon with the ability Levitate, or holding a balloon, or Pokemon under the effects of Magnet Rise, Telekinesis, etc. And Sheer Cold can't affect Ice type Pokemon. That last one is particularly interesting because it's the only immunity that can't be bypassed with moves like Gravity, or Odor Sleuth, or with the ring target held item.
Number 6.
Oh, gray text on red. Gray text on red.
You thought gray text on red background was gonna be good and easy to read? Suck my
Burns, paralysis, and sleeps multiple times. Using Will-O-Wisp makes a Pokemon burn every turn it gets hurt by it, and cuts your attack in half. If you do it with all of your opponent's Pokemon, then that will make you a complete dick to play with. Using Thunder Wave or Stun Spore will make the Pokemon on... Using Thunder Wave or Stun Spore will make the Pokemon lose speed, and sometimes it will be kept from attacking. It's fun when you use it on computer opponents in the battle facilities, but if you do it in Wi-Fi battles or on the opponent's Pokemon, it can get aggravating. Sleeps can make Pokemon not attack for 2 to 5 turns, but if you use Sleep Powder or Hypnosis a lot, then that'll be bad. I'll get to Dark Void later. Stop cropping your sentences out with this picture, god.
Slight nitpick, but the burn status effect does not cut your physical attack stat in half, it actually cuts the damage dealt by all physical moves in half. But that's really a distinction without a difference, so I'm not gonna fault you for that. I will, however, fault you for ignoring that Guts exists. Fun fact, if you give a Pokemon with Guts a burn, not only does it ignore the physical damage reduction, but it also boosts your attack on top of that. I'm not sure how you overlooked that, since the screenshot that you're using for this slide's background is one of the few times that Guts was mentioned in the anime.
Ursaring's ability is Guts, so when its status has been affected, like with Burn or Poison, its attack power grows.
On top of that, not only are there Pokemon with the ability Magic Guard, which prevents all damage that isn't directly from attacks, but there are abilities and moves that prevent the user from even falling victim to these status conditions or can heal them. Examples are Worry Seed and Electric Terrain for preventing sleep, and Aromatherapy and Heal Belt to heal the entire party's status ailments. For abilities, Early Bird, Insomnia, Healer, Natural Cure, Shed Skin, Sweet Veil, Vital Spirit, and Immunity. Wait, hold on, did Poison even come up in this section?
Nope.
Are we not going to talk about the most broken move in the entire game? Toxic?
Avi, we're not covering Villicify right now. Anyway, my personal favorite counter is the ability Magic Bounce, which reflects all status inflicting moves, among other things, back at the opponent. It's basically Uno reverse card, the ability. The move Magic Coat does the same thing, by the way.
But toxic, though.
Alright, I'll explain it. While standard poison deals about 1/8 of the Pokemon's maximum health every turn, Toxic inflicts the badly poisoned status ailment. This status deals damage over a mathematical function. You see, there's an equation for it. Each turn a Pokemon badly poisoned receives N times X damage, where N is the number of turns that have passed since being badly poisoned, and X being 1/16 of the Pokemon's maximum health. The only way to reset N to 1 is to switch out your Pokemon. So, in layman's terms,
the longer you stay in, the more damage you take every turn. How did you not mention this?
Number 5.
Spamming healing moves. Using recovery moves can heal your Pokemon, like Synthesis and Recover. It helps a lot in battle, but you can't use 3 techniques at once, like spamming Leech Seed and Ingrain, and having your Grass type learn those moves, and having it hold leftovers, and using those moves will make you a complete dick to play with. Also, having your Pokemon hold leftovers is dickish if you're using them all at once. Using that kind of technique will be cheating, and cheating is not cool at all. And if you can... What? Using that kind of technique will be cheating, and cheating is not cool at all. If you can be fair, man up, and fight using attack moves, then it'll be a good sign and a good game for other players. Yeah, don't heal. Don't heal. Healing is for weak... Only the truest Sigma males go in, just balls out, and just punch until they go down. That's beta males.
Okay, so here we go. While I will say that stalling can be quite annoying if you aren't prepared for it, not only are there a variety of ways around it, such as having a wall breaker, using Toxic, or having Heal Block, Taunt, or Torment to outright block the use of healing moves and non-damaging moves, or block the opponent from using the same moves multiple times in a row respectively, but you don't even really bring up how stalling can even be used to win. All you say is that spamming heals is bad and cheating and not fair and you're stupid, bad idiot, I hate you. You don't bring up Toxic or Burn stalling, and you don't bring up damaging moves outside of, I guess, Leech Seed. You give us as an audience nothing to really work with or agree with you on, especially considering you can only heal back to full health so many times. Because if your team is even slightly balanced, you're gonna have some kind of Pokemon that can either block the healing or output more damage than the opponent can heal.
What is a man? A miserable little pile of life do. Recover, bruise, rest. But enough talk. Have at you!
But admin, how are you going to attack your opponent with only healing moves?
That's a good question. If you don't have attacking moves, then what's stopping your opponent from just maxing out their offensive stats and destroying you in one attack?
But admin, isn't that a troll technique only used by the lowest tier of gods?
Perhaps the same could be said of all troll techniques. Besides, technically speaking, he only said that maximizing your defenses or minimizing your opponent's offenses was a troll technique. He didn't say anything about maximizing your own offenses. We're in the clear.
Number 4.
Using all field moves. So don't play the video game, I guess. So your Pokemon knows field moves, like Spikes, Stealth Rock, and Poison Spikes, right? You should do 1 per battle, not all 3 at once. Making that kind of field move will be dirty. If your opponent switches out after you use Spikes, Poison Spikes, and Stealth Rock all at once, will have your opponent's day get ruined, with half your opponent's health and a poisoned Pokemon the first time it switched out. If Poison Spikes get you, Poison will ruin your day unless you... I'm going to assume it's have a Pokemon with Poison Heal. I'm gonna guess. I'm gonna take a shot in the dark. I can't tell because your camera keeps covering words!
I am so tired.
Is that so? Then please, consider the following.
Yeah, well, I'll make you consider my
While field moves can be tricky business if you're not prepared for them, but then the question becomes,
why are you not prepared in the first place, you Neanderthal? We've been over this!
Please keep your ad hominems to a minimum, Avi. We're professionals here.
Oh, dude, if you think me being an ethereal time deity means that I'm professional, I'm sorry, you gotta speak for yourself, homie.
I am. Now then, there are several counters to this. For poison spikes, you can just switch to our grounded poison type Pokemon to nullify them. Then again, flying type Pokemon, Pokemon with the ability Levitate, and Pokemon holding an air balloon are immune to all entry hazards except Stealth Rock.
Not just that, but abilities play a massive role in dismantling setup tools. Magic Guard nullifies all non-direct damage, and Magic Bounce would reflect the non-damaging moves back at the sender. There's also moves like Rapid Spin, Magic Coat, and the God Amongst Men Defog that can eliminate all entry hazards, period.
Then again, there's always Taunt. I also take issue with the idea that someone would use all 3 of these types of entry hazards. It would take at minimum 3 turns to set all of that up. Now 3 turns may not sound like a lot of time, but it still can be enough for your opponent to set something up of their own.
Number 3.
Spamming evasion moves. A brand into the past said that using double team or minimize multiple times will have things aggravating. That's not the correct sentence structure. Great, spectacular. These kinds of people are called evasion noobs. Once you keep using double team or minimize, then it'll make it almost impossible to attack. Using Sand Attack or Mud Slap will have accuracy lowered. If you use it too much, it'll make it impossible to attack. If you do evasion too much on your opponent will have his or her day ruined, unless they have Aerial Ace or Aura Sphere.
So let's ignore the fact that raising evasion has been banned from competitive play for a long time, and has been nerfed as of Gen 7, 2 moves come in mind as an instant hard counter for this: Mist and Haze. Then again, if your opponent is increasing their evasion, you can use Topsy-Turvy and bam! Now your opponent's evasion is in the negatives. The ability Keen Eye prevents your accuracy from being lowered, and after Gen 6, the ability ignores all changes to evasion.
Or, you could just punch them. Specifically with the Machamp family's No Guard, which makes all attacks used by or against the Pokemon guaranteed to hit. Combo that with Dynamic Punch for guaranteed confusion that absolutely won't come up later, and you've got a hard counter.
As for Pokemon that abuse the move Minimize, well, it just so happens that there are a couple of soft counters to it. You see, the moves Body Slam, Stomp, Dragon Rush, Steamroller, Heat Crash, Heavy Slam, and Flying Press actually double in power if the target has used Minimize, as well as ignoring all evasion changes while doing so.
And if all else fails, then we'll just have to pull out the old reliable hard counter.
Number 2.
Using confuse moves. So just punch it is what I'm getting out of this. I'm getting just punch it. I'm getting, if you don't punch me, then your strategy before just hit me. Hit me!
Request acknowledged.
Using confuse moves. Using confuse moves can help you in battle, but it'll be a bad sign if you do it on all Pokemon in range. That'll make you a complete dick to play with. Using Supersonic, Swagger, or Flatter doesn't help all that much, but using Confuse Ray on all Pokemon on your opponent's side of the field is a dirty move. You'll be a confuse freak if you do that. I covered this issue in the past, so I'm just going to get to the worst tactic to do in a Pokemon battle.
Why wasn't this brought up with the other status moves in number 6? Wait, was it 7? I stopped caring.
It was number 6, Avi. Not to mention, Confusion is one of the few status effects that can be removed by just switching out.
Taunt.wav equals no_confusion.mp4.
On top of that, the ability Own Tempo prevents Pokemon from getting confused in the first place. Lumberries can also cure confusion as well. However, I would like to draw special attention to the ability Tangled Feet, which raises the user's evasion if the user is confused. Is it situational? Yes. Is it a funny soft counter? Also yes.
You fool! Your attempt at a troll technique activated my own troll technique. You've also activated my trap card, Parafusion. For you see, Mr. Gallade, the one thing you don't mention about confusion is that it can be paired with other status ailments, most notably paralysis. This technique is known as parafusion and is generally infamous around the competitive scene as it causes the opponent to have to bypass both percentages to fail, effectively giving them a 25% chance to even attack. Not just that, but you can pair confusion with flinching to make it even worse. Or, if you're the type of person who dislikes the idea of being enjoyed by other people and generally being seen as a degenerate, You can combine all three to essentially prevent your opponent from attacking outright. These people are called time travelers.
It also allows you to draw 2 cards from your deck into your hand.
I only bring this all up because you didn't, and if you did, this probably would have been your most solid entry.
Shame that activated my own trap card, Generational Entropy.
Generational Entropy? No one has ever managed to play that card since the Spell Speed 1 incident.
You see, as of Generation 7, the chance of a Pokemon to hit themselves in confusion was reduced from 50% to 33%, which in turn also neuters the parafusion strategy. Now with that card effect resolved, I now activate the Quick Play spell card, Turn Order Reasoning. With this card, I can ask the following question: why is this number 2? Especially considering number 6 was burning, sleeping, and paralysis, which cannot be cured by merely switching out, unlike confusion, and has more costly repercussions for being inflicted by them. In fact, I activate my trap card. Let's recap.
God, no! Eat this Solemn Strike real quick. Your recap is now negated.
The number 1 worst tactic in Pokemon Battle is...
Aeron, I'm pressing legal charges against you for making me try and read this. You can actually fuck off. I will kill you, and then I will bury you so far down into the earth that Valatora will be crushed by surface pressure, trying to remove you from the tomb that you will be buried in. Fuck yourself. Fuck your robots. Perish. Simply perish.
Just read the slide, Hiten.
Using legendaries. So you caught many legendaries. Using legendaries in the regular story mode can be fun. Using nothing but legendary and mythical Pokemon will make it really aggravating for your opponents. Don't use them in Wi-Fi battles because you're going to piss off a lot of people that way. Take for instance Darkrai. Your opponent has a Darkrai with a Choice Scarf, and it has Dark Void, which can put all the Pokemon on the opponent's side of the field to sleep, and it'll have people's days ruined. Using a Mega Mewtwo, a Mega Rayquaza, a Primal Groudon, I'm assuming Primal Kyogre, will have people come for your blood. These kinds of Pokemon are considered banned from competitive. I swear to God, my eyeballs, I did it out of pride. I didn't need you to summarize any of them. I read them just fine.
Dark Void got nerfed.
Hold on. If Darkrai has a Choice Scarf, then that means that Darkrai would be locked into using Dark Void until it switches out. And even if Dark Void didn't get an accuracy debuff, there are still many other ways around it. Magic Coat or the Magic Bounce ability to reflect the Dark Void back at Darkrai, Uproar, Electric Terrain, or the Insomnia ability to prevent sleeping period, Taunt to prevent Dark Void from being used, or you could use Gastro Acid or Worry Seed to override Darkrai's Bad Dreams ability, which takes out most of the bite Dark Void has in the first place.
Okay, so castrations aside, you say this like using a legendary at all gives you an instant win card when it really doesn't in a lot of cases.
In fact, not all legendary/mythical Pokemon are even in the Uber tier in the competitive scene, which is where usually all the really busted Pokemon are placed, with the exception of Mega Rayquaza, of course, because he's got a tier all of his own. In fact, let's list those Pokemon, shall we?
Allow us to take over from here.
We'll start at the OU tier, the competitive scene's most fundamental tier.
Legendary Pokemon found in this tier include Zapdos,
Megalodios,
Latios,
Megalodios,
Jirachi,
Heatran,
Manaphy,
Victini,
Keldeo,
Keldeo Resolute Form,
Tornadus Therian Form,
Thundurus,
Thundurus Therian Form,
Landorus Therian Form,
Curem,
Curem Black,
Tapu Bulu,
Tapu Fini,
Tapu Koko,
Tapu Lele,
Magearna,
Megadionce,
Hoopa Unbound,
Buzzwole,
Celesteela,
Kartana.
and Xurkitree.
Under the OU tier, we have the UU tier, which contains the following legendary Pokémon: Moltres,
Mew,
Entei,
Suicune,
Celebi,
Latios,
Azelf,
Cobalion,
Terrakion,
Tornadus,
Meloetta Base Form and Pirouette Form,
Volcanion.
and Nihilego.
Underneath the UU tier, we have the RU tier, which contains the following legendary Pokemon: Raikou,
Registeel,
Uxie,
Cresselia,
Shaman Land Form,
Evasion,
Diancie,
Hoopa,
Necrozma,
and Zygarde 10% form. Beneath the RU tier, we have the NU tier, which contains the following legendary Pokémon: Mesprit,
and Guzzlord. Underneath the NU tier, we have the PU tier, which contains the following legendary Pokémon: Articuno,
and Regirock. And finally, at the absolute bottom of the tier listings, we have the untiered tier. This so-called tier consists of the following legendary Pokémon: Regice,
Regigigas,
Fion,
Type Null,
and Silvally.
That and most legendaries aren't built for much other than hitting really hard or taking a lot of damage. So hitting them with something like, oh, I don't know, Toxic, arguably the best move in the game, that would cripple all but a select few legendaries that were Steel and Eternatus, but guess who wasn't out yet? The thing about legendaries is that while they can be very large beat sticks, without select gimmicks that some may have, they can easily be neutralized in a lot of ways. If you actually use the brain Arceus gave you, then just use that to plan around the big number. It's that simple.
So that pretty much concludes the video. So it's time for the concluding statements. Avi, you're the featured guest of the hour. Would you like to go first?
Nah, you go ahead. I need to reflect.
Very well. To be honest, I never like to rail on other people's production values. However, considering the fact that this video is basically a live PowerPoint presentation, I found the actual presentation portion had a lot to be desired. So if you would allow me to indulge for the moment, I would like to explain why this PowerPoint is so lackluster and how to improve on it.
And now, Aeron Tempest's feature presentation.
Today's subject: the 3 basic principles of PowerPoint design.
Principle 1, Word Density.
It is imperative that you do not use your slides as a substitute for a script. If your entire presentation is just reading off your slides while adding nothing else, people will just cut out the middleman and read the slides themselves while tuning you out, especially if it's just walls of text. Case in point.
Hi!
What you should do is write down the basic gist of your point as the bullet points, and then expand on the point while you talk.
Principle 2, Positioning.
When you create a layout for your slides, you need to consider the placement of all elements in your presentation. For example, the slides in this presentation do not take the position of the webcam into account, which ends up causing some of your points to be blocked by the webcam footage. In the future, take note of where your webcam will be positioned and plan accordingly. If you intend to have your audience read something, your webcam should not be blocking it.
Principle 3, Legibility.
There is a reason why we do not use busy pictures as backgrounds, as it makes it incredibly hard to read text if you do. It is highly recommended to use simple backgrounds that do not clash with the color of the text. Your audience should not have to strain their eyes in order to read what you've put on screen. And that concludes my presentation. Avi, you have the floor.
God, it's been how many years since I started writing this project for something on my channel, and now we're here. I'm even recording this on my birthday, huh? I'm not gonna use these final thoughts as a trip down memory lane or anything. I'm just surprised this was what it was all leading to. I've had so many negative thoughts about this video, but honestly, all I really care about is you not making these types of mistakes again in your future videos. I'd also just like to use this as more of a cautionary tale of how to not make countdowns or debate about Pokémon, rather than just throwing Gallade under the bus for views. The whole reason this project was the one I was so determined to not give up on that I went to Aeron of all people for help covering was because I want to see people make more countdowns, and I never want to see the kinds of countdowns with more bad points than good points floating around. Because I know what it's like to put your heart and soul into a script, but the final product just isn't what you realize. If you come back to countdowns, please, I'm begging you, focus on really hammering away at the big issues like your production and logic going into them. There's a reason why the community you love had the presence it did, and that's because the forefront of their craft was effort. In writing, acting, editing, and even just thinking. Don't keep your first take for your lines unless you plan on editing out your pauses, stammers, and bad reads. Go over your script multiple times yourself and with your peers to make sure your logic is sound, your jokes work, etc. With editing, I can't give too many solutions as the editor has already spoken. However, with your points, really go over them to make sure they actually make sense and can't be torn up like a wet paper bag. Pokemon isn't as shallow a game as your list makes it out to be. Each technique you brought up has many a soft or hard counter to it. However, considering 8 out of 10 of these tactics are either constantly used in stuff like VGC as viable tactics rather than being used for giggles, or are basic functions of the game, don't be surprised when people use them online. Anyway, at the end of it all, we just want you to make videos you can be proud of. And if you don't, then I hope you at least like this one. It was a hell of a long time in the making, and while we ribbed, we appreciate you giving us this video to cover it all. And with that, horses are no longer horses anymore.
Yeah, what does that even mean? You know what? I don't care enough. I'm taking my union break so I can find out why Sarah Dust is the CEO of racism later.
Is that the only question?
No, I have a question.
Alright then, ask away.
Why?
Man, you really don't fool around, do you?
It comes with the territory.
Anyway, what matters not is why, but what?
Listen, Avi, I've been very patient with you, but I am 5 seconds away from turning you into scrap metal.
Oh, really? I'd like to see you try.
5.
Okay, it's a rescue operation.
Oh, then why didn't you just open with that?
Sorry, I'm just used to arbitrary setbacks.
I see. I know the feeling. Who are you rescuing?
It's a very, very long story. One for another video.
Don't push it with the promotion, please.
Don't forget to watch the Dr. Crafty show.
So are you just testing what you can get away with here?
No, it's just for the bit. Speaking of, can I take my union break now?
Sure. Just be here when I need you.
Okay.
You and I are going to have a long talk about this project of yours.